Greetings, Internet Earthlings. You're in the Beat Sessions, your place for all things music. I'm your host, Mitchell Weary. Let's talk about Ash and their record, Ad Astra. They released that on October 3rd. This is the 9th studio album for the Northern Irish Rockers and their follow-up to 2023's Race the Night. And for 33 years now, lead singer and guitarist Tim Wheeler, bassist Mark Hamilton. Mark, you could pull it off, man. It's so close. You should just drop that last syllable and move forward. I think you could get away with it. And their drummer, Rick McMurray, have graced the world with their defiant brand of rock and roll that tightropes a chasm between indie rock and catchy pop-infused punk rock. But even that description feels like it's selling the eclectic nature of their sound a bit short. They've never really been defined by one sound, particularly following their debut in 1977 when Charlotte Hatherley joined the band and they found themselves struggling to carve out their own space in a music landscape that was very much dominated by rock and roll at the time. In a 2004 interview, Wheeler explained that was a hazy time when we didn't really know what we were doing. Nuclear Sounds captures that well. One half consists of schizophrenic, crazy noise rock, and the other half with only gloomy ballads. Nuclear Sounds feels like the starting point, though, that led them to this moment now. An experiment that revealed exactly what they want from this project, which is to be pop-oriented, and after releasing 2 more records with Hatherley, deciding that they want to be a 3-piece, resulting in her departure in 2006. The last 2 decades have been spent fine-tuning and exploring a sound that singularly binds so much that I've loved throughout the years. And Ad Astra is a solid reckoning of what that evolution sounds like. And it sounds like these guys are having a damn good time. The energy on this record is fantastic. And I want to give a shout out to everyone in the UK and Ireland that watches the channel. Ash is another band whose visibility was squashed in the States while they were getting started in the 90s. And I'm just happy that a handful of you encouraged me to check them out. Admittedly, I was a little apprehensive to dive into Ad Astra and to the rest of their catalog because nothing tingles my spine more than that pop punk label that I think is very arbitrarily ascribed to them. I'm not fond of many bands that carry that designation, but I'm glad I hit play and started doing some research because it revealed what I was hoping for. I've argued before that all great punk bands write with a great pop sensibility, and writing music that balances raw, energetic edge with catchy melodic hooks. And the more I listen to Ad Astra, the more I hear the sounds of bands that they've drawn comparisons to, like the Buzzcocks, Husker Du, The Jam, The Replacements, and even the Ramones a little bit. Songs like Hallion and their cover of Jump in the Line are executed perfectly in this vein. But their sound is so much more than punk, combining other genres like alternative rock, indie rock, noise pop, surf rock, and garage rock, amongst many others. I love the jangly sounds of the Smiths and REM, like the track Which One Do You Want?, which also has a touch of Toad the Wet Sprocket, I'd argue. I love the track. There's the alternative rock swagger of Dinosaur Jr. and the Pixies on tracks like Give Me Back My World and Dehumanized. And personally, on this record, I hear a lot of the pop-driven rock sounds that take me back to the 90s. Bands like Weezer, Third Eye Blind, Eve 6, and Our Lady Peace seem like, more than inspiration, they were contemporaries, I would argue. I enjoy the moments when this thing goes heavy, like the banger Fun People. I've been listening to a lot of White Zombie lately, so that song just it got me going. But more than anything on this record, I think the influence of Rick Ocasek and the Cars is huge. They were one of the first bands to take garage rock into the new wave landscape with all these other genres that I mentioned. And the influence on this album just feels so organic and spectacular. Thematically, love and the band's shared love of space are at the heart of Ad Astra. This navigates a kaleidoscope of celestial love songs, sardonic assessments of the future that we live in, and reflections of how curiosity of the unknown often mimics our own earthbound journeys. There's vivid imagery framed within references to supernovas, Elysian heights, chasing stars, and peering down at the planet with wonder and awe. This thing it's a feel-good space odyssey, so I think it's very appropriate that the band kicks things off with your first track, Zarathustra. It's a rock and roll take on Richard Strauss's classic, Also Sprach Zarathustra, which many of you may recognize as the signature song from the Stanley Kubrick film 2001: Space Odyssey, and more recently from Barbie, but it's also been in so many other pieces of medium throughout the years. I've read many opinions too that say that this is kind of like got a Rush Tom Sawyer vibe, and I do agree with that a bit. Your second track is entitled Which One Do You Want? Sharp, jangly electric guitar with an airy sensibility opens this one, quickly joined by a solid drum fill before the rhythm settles in around a brilliant arpeggiated riff with exceptional tone. The bass has a frenetic groove, and Tim's vocals blend seamlessly with the guitar to carry the verses, while that great riff is obscured in the chorus by heavy crashes of rhythm guitar and a vocal hook built off the title that finds Tim's voice soaring to dreamy heights. The track takes off into a solo at the minute and 35-second mark, returning to the hook with slightly deeper tone. There's an abrupt shift where all the music drops except for a steely, breezy acoustic guitar, and then the bass commences the build back, joined soon after by the drums and lead electric riff, and exploding into a final turn of the chorus and ending with the refrain, I want both. Your third track is entitled Fun People, featuring Graham Coxon from Blur. Opens with electronic vocals and percussion, proving that, these guys are just proving as fast as they can with this one. They are not content to inhabit an isolated space for any record. They want to bring as much into the fold with an album as possible, and it makes this intro really exciting. There's live percussion that takes the spotlight while the hook, Fun People, fun people, is delivered with robotic distortion, and then this thing just takes off into heavy rock territory. Just briefly, though, before pulling back the intensity and settling into a groovy, staccato-driven garage rock track. This thing is wild, though. It's a fun, somewhat sardonic take on the modern world and the self-absorption that social media has spurred. And as this thing continues, the bass evolves into a legato groove while the guitar keeps that staccato structure. And then the chorus takes off with a couple of big howls with the back and forth between vocals that are backed by a sound that is reminiscent of the Cars and some riff-heavy 90s alt-inspired glam rock. There's a great bridge at about the 2-minute mark, and then this thing just goes absolutely berserk to finish. Your fourth track is entitled Give Me Back My World. It keeps the energy high, but backs things off with a lighter melodic foundation driven by a poppy indie rock influence. All the instrumentation enters at once, and there's great movement in the verse structure with a continued reprise of the hook, Give Me Back My World Again. The chorus is just a bit heavier, and I dig the lively staccato piano that just sits back in the mix. I really like the way that that's incorporated into the song. The middle eight breaks the pace for a moment with lots of rolls on the toms before moving into a final verse and finishing with a couple repetitions of the hook. Your fifth track is entitled Hallion. Propulsive bass drum and an energetic bass lick lead this one off with screeches of guitar and a woman dropping lots of British slang. A drum roll takes the listener into a track that just has this solid punk rock feel. It has great melody with lots of ohs in between lines and the verses. There's a slight melodic shift in a chorus that maintains the energy with the second half of the chorus built on the hook, Won't You Save a Little Love for Me? And then backed by a lightly searing guitar when that happens. The track stops at the 2-minute and 45-second mark with the soothing vocals and an electric riff doing a complete 180 on the energy in the coda. But I really like the up-tempo flavor of it to start. Your sixth track is entitled Deadly Love, big sci-fi open with a droning synth and tweakly synths that have this distinct chime quality. An icy piano lick commences the build with reverberating wah pedal synths before propulsive drums join the party. The drums mellow as the proggy sci-fi guitar steals the spotlight moments later, and I just love how that piano continues to trickle in the background of this song. The guitar fades for the vocals to take over in the verses, but there's another guitar with a rhythm delay that works in later on, evoking the signature style of The Edge. Definitely has a U2 feel, this track. The big drums return to usher in the chorus, distinguished by soaring cosmic guitar and the hook, How Can I Survive This Deadly Love? Your biggest track on the album. It's definitely a highlight. I love that track. Your seventh song is entitled My Favorite Ghost. Gentle acoustic guitar leads this one out before serenading vocals and pensive strings emerge to establish a big moment of balladry on the record. The second verse bears witness to more development with a touch of bass, hints of electric guitar, and a vibraphone element, and then a melodic turn into more uplifting energy. I appreciate the way it works starting in a dark place, but turning to the light with the lyrics as they unfold, and this thing becomes a declaration of love. It's really well done. Your eighth track is entitled Jump in the Line. This is a punk rock style cover of the song originally written by Lord Kitchener, but made famous by Harry Belafonte. It kind of sounds like the Ramones could have done it, and I dig that. I dig the influence driving this. It's silly and fun, but like, why the hell not? Just given the overall energy of this record. With that said, it is a pretty wild way to follow My Favorite Ghost, but there it is. The solo that takes over just before the 2-minute mark is appropriately indulgent as well. And thanks for that cover, guys. It's a solid one. Your ninth track is entitled Keep Dreaming. A bit of feedback rises to usher in lightly chugging pop punk rhythm guitar and wispy vocals that work together for just a few seconds before the rest of the instrumentation charges in, giving life to a song that channels the Cars once again. A lot, actually, particularly the song Magic. From everything to the staccato piano, to the lines and the verses that open with driving rhythm, but shift to open staccato crashes on the hook, Please Don't Stop. The chorus doubles down on the infectious energy with a solo that leads into a bass drum-led breakdown with hushed vocals. The guitars slowly build back to take the song into a high-energy coda with a refrain hook of the title. Your 10th track is entitled Dehumanized. I love the arpeggiated lead that opens this one up with just a touch of like ragga rock and rich tones to it. A placidly vigorous acoustic guitar accompanies that electric riff, followed shortly after by the vocals for a few bars, and then exploding into a bridge that just goes to work. It quickly dissolves back into the mellow terrain with the addition of a little percussion, and then explodes once more, leading into a high energy chorus. But I really like that bridge, the way that it works in the track. The song plays with this back and forth between the two segments and features a searing solo just after the 2-minute and 30-second mark. The solo leads into a percussion-led bridge that takes the track into a final run of the chorus to finish. Your 11th track is entitled Ghosting. Your penultimate track is an up-tempo song that's just like right off the bat with influences of ska, new wave, and power pop. Get kind of that Cars feel again. Light syncopated rhythm carries the verses before a shimmering arpeggiated electric riff takes the lead in the chorus with the refrain of the hook Ghosting that works with lofty melodies. The electric lead remains present in the second verse, working with different variants, and the song's solo works with heavy new wave effects that are fuzzy and synth inspired. And then your final track is entitled Ad Astra, and why not bring back Graham Coxon once more to finish this record off? Got pulsating sci-fi synths and Beach Boys style harmonies that lead this one off, accompanied shortly after by drums that crash in with hand claps. The percussion continues to intensify, leading the swell of the track as it bursts into the final verse, or into the first verse, It's high energy, with the verses built on a lyrical call and response that disappears in the chorus, giving it more intensity. A scorching guitar solo works in at about the 2-minute and 20-second mark, occupying a big chunk of space in the middle of this track, and it's surrounded by drum fills, playing with some cosmic inspiration as well. The track finishes big with a fade out that leads to celestial twinkling synths to finish. In some ways, this album almost feels a little overdue. This is a band that has not been shy about their love of all things space for a very long time now. I mean, it's the title of their debut record comes from the year that Star Wars was released. I also know that it's the year that Tim and Mark were born, so it references that as well. But I think that fully committing to a record finally. I mean, it's in the title, Ad Astra, to the stars. And you can just feel, again, the energy is so palpable with these guys that they've reached a point in their career where they feel so dialed into what it is that they want. And they're having an incredible amount of fun doing it. Just, I mean, looking at the album cover, like I love the spacesuits. I love that you go onto Apple Music and they got all the promotional stuff is geared towards that. It's nice to see them actually just like fully commit to the concept of space on a record. And I got to say that I've really enjoyed this album. I've enjoyed digging into some of their other stuff, not being that familiar with them prior to this review. So again, thank you to all of you who encouraged me to check this band out. I'm going to give this thing a 7.6 out of 10. And I hope you all enjoyed this record. I hope you find this review helpful as well. Please like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel. If you're feeling generous, drop a super chat. All of that stuff helps me blow this project up in 2025, and stay tuned throughout the week for more album reviews. We will see you next time on the Beat Sessions.